thought it was only right that we start with Jim Knowles. I wouldn't say that I have been holding his hands through the fire like I would a Ryan Day, right? I wouldn't say it's that bad, but I have been someone who has been defending Jim Knowles against the pack. And, I would say, for whatever reasons why he wants to leave and all that, maybe it's more, the more money, maybe, all the things I've mentioned, about him wanting more money, and maybe it's because he wants to, be close home with a Philly boy. Even though, to be quite honest with you, I don't know what Philly really has to do with Happy Valley, but that's another discussion for another day. But as I read the article by Heather Dinich, and I'm sitting here thinking, dude, you sound like a whiny bitch. And you sound like someone who, you're mad about not getting a raise as soon as you wanted it. And then you also complaining about the price. So really, it doesn't even matter that when you got it, it's only because of the money. But then you're also talking about how your boyfriend, Phil, I saw your post, Jug, about and talk about, now it's because the fans are tough, but everyone knows that when they come out. So is it real? I don't know what it is with Jim Knowles. And so it comes off kind of, just whiny to me. It comes off as, if I'm being quite honest with you, comes off kind of spoiled in a way. Man, what do you guys think about it?
Go ahead, Jet.
So, I poke a little bit. I don't always feel 100% how I'm like, when there's an issue like this, I'll generally, get in on somebody a little harder than I feel, but I legitimately feel very negative feelings towards Jim Knowles. Like I really do. And I'll tell you why, because I think what you're getting at there, Garrison, is it comes off as incredibly entitled. There is nobody else on this staff that was bothering Day and for an extension before the end of the season. Like nobody else was doing this. What makes you feel so special? And this is a guy who had just signed, he just re-upped his deal. And then in that quote in the article with Dinich, he says, I didn't want it. I didn't want it. Nobody wanted to be distracted by it right after we won the national championship. Jim, what do you think is more distracting? Right after or before when you're getting ready to play a national championship? Like what's more distracting? You bringing this to the table as we're preparing to win a national championship or after? Like that's just baloney, man. Come on now.
Yeah.
And then the thing that really set me over the edge, and I know this is just kind of totally off the beaten path, but his lack of self-awareness and how he's handled this really showed when I saw that he called James Franklin at 5 a.m. Like that is so unself-aware.
5:06.
Bro, if somebody calls at 5 a.m, that's my parents are in an emergency or my kids got arrested. Like you don't call at 5 a.m. to talk business. And if it was anybody but Jim Knowles asking for a job, James Franklin would have told him to pound salt, whoever's on the line.
Yes.
But he's just a lack of self-awareness is all the way around, man. All the way around.
Yeah. So my take on Jim Knowles is it explains a lot, right? And to be honest, let's go back to Denzel Burke's interview when he sat there and said, man, at the, getting close to the end of the game, we're letting Notre Dame come back in this thing. He felt like Jim Knowles was about to purposely mess the game up for them. You're talking about the players feeling this, and now it explains exactly why. Because he's more worried about a contract than the players. The whole message throughout the entire coaching staff was to focus on nothing but the players. They weren't even recruiting. This guy, Keenan Bailey, had to tell Max Clare, hey, it's going to have to be on the off night. I can't go out there and recruit you. So if everybody else is okay with this standing ground rule, why are you supposed to be the head coach of the defense? Shouldn't you be leading the charge in that? Why are you not leading the charge? Why are you being a defector? And to be honest, this backs up all of the arguments that everybody has been saying about Jim Knowles, about how he's not able to take criticism. And here's the thing. You had the best defense not because of all of what you did. It was because other NFL minds pushed you to be better. So now you ran from that. So what does this say? Soft batch cookies, man. Thank goodness that this is not around my program anymore or whatever, because that's what Jim Knowles was pushing into our players. I'm sorry, but that mentality, you take on the mentality of your coach. And I'm so glad that we, as Ohio State, don't have to deal with it. Good riddance. Congratulations, Penn State. We wasn't even thinking about this dude till this article came out. I'm like, we've been talking about nothing but Matt P. And then this comes out.
I want to read this to you guys from the article. But where I just put it, here it is. So this is funny. So said Knowles said in 2024 season that Ohio State was the toughest environment he had ever been a part of. There was finger pointing at the defense after the 32-31 October 12 loss out of Oregon, and it was grueling piecing the team back together after his fourth straight loss to rival Michigan in November, but that's not why he left. I don't think it did, Knowles said, referring to the pressure of coaching at Ohio State and if it affected his decision. I mean, if I'm honest with myself, I don't think it did. You become accustomed to it. It didn't keep me up at nights or anything like that. I don't know, man. Well, when I read this, like you said, it's like entitled, and then right here you says, there's finger pointing at the defense. Well, like let's be quite honest here. Like I've always said that when I look through like C.J. Stroud's career, and mind you, Jim Knowles was not there in 2021, but whenever I look at C.J. Stroud's career at Ohio State, and and I'm not saying this is fact, this is just my opinion. But I tell people, I don't think there's a loss at Ohio State and C.J. Stroud's tenure that I can blame on C.J. Stroud. I don't think there's a game I can point to. If I point to anything, I'm pointing to the defense. And so then you go into 2022, which, mind you, the defense in 2022 as a whole was better than 2021, but everyone knew the Achilles heel, though, Ohio State defense in 22 was big plays, and that was your defense, Jim Knowles. And so, and let's be quite honest here. Let's just put it out there. That's we're a few big plays away from talk a lot of people talking differently about Ryan Day. So
we probably have two natties.
Exactly. So there are things that I can point to in big games for Jim Knowles. We know like the finger pointing happened because rightfully so it did happen. You know, and I think about like, and then I look towards Ryan Day. I think about all the things that Ryan Day had to go through as a coach, as the head coach, the younger, less tenured coach of Jim Knowles, the guy who was had to deal with his family, like having problems, deal with all that. But he's able to take it, but he's not. And I just
check this out. Let's check this out. Let me ask you guys. Okay, yes, the fan base. We was obviously talking about the defense, but whose voice was louder after the Ohio State Oregon game? Whose voice was the loudest on the college football stage talking about that defense?
Ryan Day.
No,
it wasn't. You said at the end.
At the end, after the game, it was Nick Saban. It was Nick Saban. Nick Saban dogged his defense. So here's my thing. It wasn't about Ohio State fans. You could call us casuals or whatever. Nick Saban said that your defense was inept.